Fantastic. Okay, good. Beautiful. Welcome. I'm not muted. Thank you, chat. The true saviors of any YouTube channel, Twitch, whatever. You guys rocked it. Thank you. Thanks for being here. We got a bunch of people in here already. If you'd like to, click the like button just to start us off. That would be amazing. Really appreciate it. Pay no attention to the thumbnail. I will fix it later. Once you go live and you don't check one of those mistakes, it's kind of tough to fix. So we'll fix it in post. We've got a bunch of lists today. I think we have 9 lists today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe just 8. Okay. Well, I think it is 9. There's one 1,000 point list. So very excited to go over this. Obviously, some of these lists are going to be before the data slate. Moving forward, if you ever feel like you want to edit your list, if there's a data slate or if your collection changes or if you just have different ideas, go ahead and just edit the comments and I'll make sure to do my best to keep the timeline the same. But yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with how this show works, in our community page on Wednesday Night Warhammer itself, you can submit your list through a post that I've created. Can be of any kind, really. I do tend to stick with 2K, but we do some 1,000 point list advice too. So go ahead and post it in there. I will eventually get to everybody. However, I do kind of have a priority for some members. For this week, I think we have 5 members and then 3 non-members lists because we did have a good amount of members come in and I just wanted to give them a what's up, and say thanks for the support and everything. And I basically go through. I've been trying to keep the relative core of the list to each of these things as, maybe close to what the first person when they were submitting it was. But I always like to give my advice and kind of things that I would do in order to change the list to make it function a little bit better. Xenotail, yeah, did the data slate change? What Malevolent Swarm just said, Emissary, Assimilator, and Trigon went down. And Tyrant Guard went down as well. Which is like, they're saying, hey guys, play Assimilation Swarm, please. Which is pretty cool. I think we should do that too. But anyways, Emissary still feels somewhat inferior to Maleceptor. I think they kind of do similar but different things at the same time. But yeah, I'm also going to run a Maleceptor before I run a Emissary for sure. First list. Let's check it out. We've got Troy. Troy, thanks for being a member. I appreciate it. And he's High Fleet Ultra, and his YouTube profile is like an Ultramarine symbol, so that's pretty cool. This is Invasion Fleet. We have the mascot of the stream, I think, is a Broodlord with perfectly adapted. He just shows up all the time. 2 Broodlords in Invasion. Ooh, super spicy. I like that. That's cool. Hive Tyrant with the Monstrous Bone Sword and Lash Whip and Venom Cannon and Adaptive Biology. This guy kind of just comes stock with that for sure. 2 Hormigons. Very good. Biovore. Sounds good. Odd Potato. 2 Exocrines. 2 Gene Stealers. Maleceptor, Neurolictor. Raveners, Tyrannifex. Von Ryans. Oh my gosh. And this guy, I'm just making sure that he didn't do anything. Sometimes people leave notes. This is kind of sweet. This is kind of cool. So this is like a Vanguard take on Invasion Fleet, I guess. So things that immediately jump out at me is I probably want a couple of Lictors. I probably want 2 Lictors for sure. And let's see is there anything that went down in points? Because I don't think he adjusted. No. I don't think anything went down in points. He's not running a Trigon. He's not running Norns or anything. Okay. So I want a Lictor, and then something that I really, really am trying to do is I want to run 2 Tyrannifexes if I'm running any Tyrannifexes at all. And the reason is if you expose 1 Tyrannifex, there's a good chance that your opponent is not going to be able to kill it unless they dedicate like so much firepower or so many units into killing that both of the Tyrannifexes. They could kill one of them, but they're probably not going to kill both. And then your Tyrannifex gets to activate back into whatever poked out and tried to kill both of the Tyrannifexes. If you have 1 Tyrannifex, however, I'm pretty sure that your opponent feels less scared of just activating everything into the Tyrannifex. So that being said, in order to make room for this stuff, first off, I got to say that Troy, I think this is a really cool list. I have not tried personally double Broodlord in Invasion. It could be pretty sweet, honestly, and I'm okay with the double Hormagaunts. I do kind of wish that we had at least one Gargoyle squad, but let's see what we think. I think two trains of thought. If you're running Von Ryans, which I'm running a 3-man in my Invasion fleet list currently, I think you are going to want to have the you're going to want to have Alien Cunning. Okay, so the first thing we are going to actually do is I think we trim Perfectly Adapted. I think Perfectly Adapted is okay, but honestly, when we're trying to just like fine tune everything, oh, and it's 1990. That's great to know. Okay, so Perfectly Adapted goes away. That means we're going to have 15 points. So basically we'll have 25 points to play with right now. Sweet. Okay, and I like Perfectly Adapted, but it's just kind of one of those things where it's just like, I think it's extra. I think it's the sprinkles on top. It's not something that's really going to it's not something that's really going to affect your gameplay too much. But I feel like Alien Cunning is something that you could play around quite a bit. Cool. All right. And then the next thing is, if the Neurolictor is our only lone op, then I'm probably going to want to bring him down to actually be a Lictor instead of a Neurolictor, just because with our lone ops, I feel like we want to put them in places where, yes, they are safe. However, there's a chance that we're using them to trade, and I personally don't really want to use a Neurolictor to trade. I would much rather have a Lictor, which is only 60 points and can rapid ingress and do all those cool things, instead of a Neurolictor, which I feel like is a much more valuable piece in the army. I think Neurolictor is cool. However, I think it has to go tandem with one or two Lictors. So at this point, I think I am going to downgrade the Neurolictor to a Lictor, and that is a 30-point difference, by the way, which is kind of insane in my opinion, because I think Lictors are so strong. They're 30 points cheaper than a Neurolictor. Woo-wee. Okay, cool. So, and that's one of our Lictors down. Perfect. That's what we were wanting to do. Next up, I think I'm going to do my best to leave one 6-man Von Ryans, because I think that's actually pretty sweet. That's that's kind of crazy, but things that we want to do is Alien Cunning with Von Ryan, so that's on our list that we want, and then we want to have a second Tyrannifex, and then if we can fit that, I love this list, if I'm being honest. So so I'm going to cut one of the Von Ryans entirely, and then that's going to put us at 195. And so that's just going to duplicate a Tyrannifex. Copy. And then we have 5 points left over. Boom. All right. Very cool. Fire Drake says, if Perfectly Adapted let you set a roll to 6, it would be up there with Adaptive Bile. Just getting a reroll is middling. I agree, but I still think it's kind of awkward, Like for 15 points, I guess I agree with you, because it is kind of cool with the Broodlord. You just like dev wounds immediately. That could be a neat idea, actually. I think I like that. All right, so we have 2 Tyrannifexes. We still have the 6-man Raveners. We have 1 Lictor. We have the 6-man Von Ryans. I think this guy likes the 6-man Von Ryans. So I am probably if we were to stick with the 6-man Von Ryans, then this is the list. We only have 5 points left over. But let me talk to you guys about why I think Alien Cunning with the Von Ryans is so important. Is because the Von Ryans, you're going to put them out into the center of the battlefield, basically to use them as a big infiltrating screen. And then you just drop them first, and you just tell your opponent that you can't infiltrate anywhere really. And I think what this guy is thinking with his list, was it Troy, is he's using probably one of the Von Ryans to screen his Broodlord scouting up, and that's a pretty cool idea. But I think you could actually still do it pretty well with only one Von Ryan. And you probably don't even need a 6-man, honestly, because that 9-inch bubble actually covers quite a bit of the field, especially when you space them out. But anyways, once everybody's deployed, then you can put the Von Ryans and you can scoop them up and put them in a better spot for you for your turn, regardless if you end up going first or second. It's going to help you score secondaries. You can set up for containment and stuff. And then you can also put it on like a far flanking objective that your opponent wasn't really thinking about. And then possibly he has to turn his units to that other spot. And that's all with Alien Cunning. And I've been playing with Alien Cunning actually quite a bit. Recently testing for this RTT. I used it last night on our stream. I think it's very strong. And if you're running Von Ryans, I think you should also run Alien Cunning. However, if we're not changing his list too much, I think we run with this. We kind of trim some stuff down to allow him to have the 6-man Von Ryans right there. And then we have double Tyrannifexes. For me, I would probably cut the Von Ryans down to a 3-man. And then I would put Alien Cunning on one of the Broodlords. And then I would add a Pyrovore. And then I'm actually pretty happy with that list. But I think this guy's list is pretty sweet. I think this is pretty cool. You know, it's not fitting a gargoyles or anything, but it is doing some pretty cool stuff. Also, a second lifter would be sweet. But anyways, that's our first list. Thank you, Troy. Troy's a member. Thanks for the support, man. And thanks for submitting your list. Firedrek says, being able to mulligan your infiltrators is great, especially if your opponent has units that could scout their own infiltrators. Exactly, yeah. So you screen out a certain area of the battlefield, and then if your opponent really isn't doing anything with that part of the battlefield, you just scoop your dudes up and then put them there. It's basically like I don't know, an additional movement phase, if you really think about it that way. Almost like a scout or something. Okay, next list. We have Malevolent Swarm. I think I saw him before. If you're, oh yeah, he's right up there. If you're in chat, we're going after your list. And I don't know why, when I copy and paste the list, the emojis, I don't know why they do that. It's kind of crazy. But he says, my list for review did play Vanguard Onslaught. Hence some of the choices. These are the models I have available. Hi, Malevolent Swarm. Winged Hive Tyrant works well if he doesn't kill himself with Paroxysm. Yep, that can happen. Like using terms for Endless Swarm. Want to bump Horns up to 20 to take full advantage and change up a little to include Foot, Hive Tyrant, and Biovore. Warriors don't really need a prime in this detachment. They still slap. Oh. Okay. That's actually a pretty interesting thought, because if you just use the warriors, those who don't know, with the prime gives them sustain. So they're an invasion fleet. You can just have them have sustain. So instead of spending the extra points on a Tyranid prime, you just have them walk around and do cool stuff. It's pretty sweet. I was actually working on a deep dive on Tyranid warriors, and in Invasion Fleet, Tyranid warriors are actually insane how much damage they put out. They hit on 3s, you can reroll 1s, and then normally they're attached to the Tyranid Prime, so you're going to sustain all the time. And then if you have lethals active for Invasion Fleet, then they're sustained, and then they're lethals, and then you're twin linked as well. So it's like, and then at strength 6 now with Synapse, it's actually a huge breaking point, because strength or toughness 10 and 11, you're still going to be winning on 5s instead of 6s. If only you can get them to strength 7, that would be really cool. All right, so just zooming out things that I think I would do. So I was talking about what I was talking about before, where I like to have 2 of shooty platforms as opposed to like 1 and 1 or something like that. So something that is sticking out for me is like the 1 Exocrine and then also only the 1 Tyrannifex. I get a little nervous about that, but we're definitely going to keep the Tyranid Warriors here. I might suggest adding Tyranid Prime, and we might switch out one of the Lictors for a Tyranid Prime. And again, this is just what I would do. Hold on, I'm having a hard time remembering. Oh, a Tyranid Prime is 65 points. So Marauder Squadron says damage still better than Gene Stealer Bombs. Those still seem durable plus faster. Yes, Marauder, and those two things that you just said is exactly why I'm running Gene Stealers instead of Tyranid Warriors. I think Tyranid Warriors are pretty cool as well, but the Gene Stealers attached to the Broodlord is going to have the -1 to hit in combat. They have a 5-up invuln, which I think is better than 3 wounds on a 4-up save. And then the dev wounds really is just kind of crazy. And the scout as well. So all of those reasons that you just said, Marauder, are the reasons that I'm running Gene Stealers instead of Tyranid Warriors, but I definitely still think that Tyranid Warriors are cool. Okay, so we have one Broodlord, which is going with the 10-man right here, and then a 5-man Gene Stealers. What's up, Dragon King? Good to see you, man. Come on in. So things just to kind of help us a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and cut the 5-man Gene Stealers. I have been seeing people run the 5-man Gene Stealers. I think it is an okay tech. But when we have like the lone ops, like the lictors and stuff, I think we could probably just use those instead, if you know what I'm saying. And then we're also going to cut perfectly adapted for right now, just because the plans that I'm wanting to put and change into this list, we're probably going to need every single point we can. So that's going to give us another extra 15. So that'll be 90 points right here. Boom, boom. Okay. And then let me see, let me make sure that, are we square away? Oh, we're square away at 2K. Okay, cool. Oh, this is the winged tyrant. Let's remind ourselves. It doesn't kill him like using terms for endless swarm. Want to bump bums up to 20 to take full advantage. Change up a little to include hive tyrant and biovore. Okay. All right. So let's focus on seeing if we can do that for him. So we want to do a foot tyrant and a biovore. Okay. So if foot tyrant is, I believe, is 260 points. So that means if we just change foot tyrant to this, Chance, I think that's Invader Zim. You're on today, dude. I got you on today because you're a member. So you'll be up pretty soon. So if we do Hive Tyrant and with Adaptive Biology, that's 260 points. Okay. And so that's 235 to 260. So that's 25 points right there. So we'll go down to 65 points left over for that. And it sounds like Malevolent Swarm wants to use a Malevolent Swarm, which makes sense. So I think we are going to lean into that archetype a little bit, but we're going to have to cut some things in order to make it. Yes, there's quite a bit of. Okay, so we want to lean into the swarm. Excellent, it's great to have you in here. So something that we want to do is, I think instead of the Tyrannifex, I think we want to do Zoanthropes, and that's going to help with the 6-up invuln for all of our swarm things. Get out of it, Zach. He says, I have an idea: 2 Exocrines, 2 Malceptors, 2 Tyrannifexes, 30 Gargoyles, a single foot tyrant, and literally anything else. Yeah, that sounds like a list that somebody you know would probably play. I agree. All right, so we're gonna throw Zoanthropes in there times 6, and so that's just gonna bring us down to 55 here. I play that, but Horns. Yeah, exactly. The reason why we want the Zoanthropes is because the Zoanthropes are going to be just strong enough on their own because of the Neurotyrant attaching them, and then +2, or to hit on 2s rather, with the +1. And then with the Walking Hive Tyrant, Zoanthropes are pretty strong. Normally, I'm not super excited about running Zoanthropes, but if I'm wanting to do like a swarm thing, and if I have a Walking Hive Tyrant that will enable the 5-inch movement to not really hurt too much, that's going to help out a lot. So I am then excited to do that. Okay, cool. One more thing that we're going to want to try and have is I probably want an additional Exocrine. So for this, if we're going full swarm, I personally am probably going to cut this. It's going to be either the Warriors or the Gene Stealers. And in my opinion, I'm probably leaning towards the Gene Stealers over the Warriors. Sorry, but That's plus 150 points. So that would be 205, I believe. And then things that we want to do. I actually like the Hormagaunts as just 10 mans. I think the 20 mans is cool. But for right now, I think we're probably going to stick with that. And then we'll take a look at what points we have. But we definitely want to have at least 2 Termagant squads. I'm probably going to want to try and do 3, but let's see where that gets us. So if we have 2 there, that's 120. So that means we're down to 85 points. Very cool. And we still want to lean into this, I think, a little bit more. Another thing is I probably want another Exocrine. Just because Exocrine lining up shots with the Zoanthropes to give them reroll 1s is very good. 1 less Lictor, yeah, that is what I'm leaning towards as well. So if we take 1 Lictor away, then we're at 145. Boom. And then that's going to create a second Exocrine right there. And then that should be at 10 points, I believe. And then, so Malevolent Swarm, I think this is okay. This is pretty good. But if we're really wanting to lean into this Termagant, like swarming up the field, I think we're going to want to have 1 more squad of Termagants. So something you could do is you could cut a Maleceptor, which is crazy that I'm saying that, right? But if we cut a Maleceptor, then we're at 180 points. 180 points. Oh, I think we're just going to be like 10 short of what I would actually personally want. 180 points. So that will be 60. Let's see what we can do. I don't want another Lictor. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for points to include Venomthropes. That's the 20 terms and a Biovore. Or do you not have a Biovore here? Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. You don't have a Biovore. Okay, so Biovore goes in, and if that's what you were kind of looking for, then yeah, that's the list for sure. So then you have easy, great. It's so nice when they're in the chat. But we have 10 points there. So something that I feel like I'm wanting in this list, and then at this point we start looking at the Maleceptor to see if we really want to go full swarm and kind of support that more, is I actually really like Venomthropes in this kind of list, because Termagants with -1 to hit, cover, and a 6-up invulnerable save, and a 5-up feel no pain, is just, it kind of just gets to a certain level of durability that it's just kind of gross. And it's really hard for your opponent to deal with. And then the fact that they're just going to regrow every single turn is very annoying, and something that's really tough to deal with. But I like this direction if we're wanting to go swarm. And Malevolent Swarm, I'm looking to play a list close to this pretty soon if I'm able to get it built. Oh, well, I deleted it because I was getting ready for stream. So sorry. But it's something like this, but it's Venomthropes. I'm not running a Maleceptor, I don't believe, just because I want to go full into, like, I think I have 60 Termagants and then like 20 Hormagaunts and 20 Gargoyles or something. But very cool archetype. I'm hoping to play it soon as well. Thank you, Malevolent Swarm, for the support. Of course, being a member, you're super awesome. We really appreciate it. And thanks for submitting your list. Well, there you go. I hope there's some ideas that you can use in your list building. Invader Boy Zim. Check it out. Definitely his name is not Chance. I don't know why sometimes in YouTube chat it shows like the actual name or the YouTube profile. It's kind of weird, but awesome. Yes, of course. You're very welcome. Here he is. He's a member. He says, "Sup, gang. Here's my first list. New to Warhammer. Decided on Nids since I like the aesthetic. You are a champion." That is how you should decide your faction, is the aesthetic. And that's also how I decided my faction. And turns out they're really good. And so I'm very happy with this. Gex says, I take 15 Spine Fist Termies, 2 Strangle Web with a Tervigon on almost every single list because it scares people and eats so much damage. Plus the feel, no pain, adapt on her makes her the most durable unit. Yeah, that's a pretty disgusting combo. And I actually think I agree with you. I think, not to go back to another list, but Malevolent Swarm, I think we probably run the Spine Fist instead of the Flesh Borer. And that's because a lot of the times your goal with these Termagants is to just put them on the field and just have them tie up people. And if you're having people tie up, then you have the Spine Fist, which is either going to be sustain or lethal. And then you get the Twin Linked added to it, which can actually be pretty powerful. So, so think about that, you know? But anyways, cool. Going back, I like the Spine Fist over Flesh Borer. I agree with you, Gex. Okay, so he's Invasion Fleet, Orcus. Very cool. He's got the mascot of the stream, Broodlord, perfectly adapted. Let's take a look at it. Then he has Hive Tyrant. I don't know if this was just you putting it in quickly, but I often like to take the Bone Sword, Lash Whip, and then Venom Cannon instead of the double melee. I think there's an argument for this as well. Twin Linked and Lethals, yes. I think there's an argument for this, and it's often off of your playstyle. I like to have my Hive Tyrant pretty far back and just kind of plink off stuff with the Venom Cannon. I've actually killed quite a bit of things with my Venom Cannon, and so that's kind of the playstyle that I lean with. But if you're a little bit more aggressive with your Hive Tyrant, then the Scything Talents can absolutely work. We have 20 Hormagaunts, 10 Hormagaunts, 10 Hormagaunts. Very cool. I love Hormagaunts. Like, just their models, the new sculpts, they did a really good job on them. Biovore, very cool. Exocrine, Gene Stealers, Lictor, Maliceptor, Neurolictor, Pyrovore, Tyranifex, Zoanthropes. Okay, sweet. So there's some good stuff in here, man, for sure. And I really like it. This is the point where I actually like a Lictor when we have already built into our list 2 Lictors. I think that's pretty sweet because these 2 guys can go off and do lone op things, and then this Neurolictor can cover an objective with its Battle Shock and make your opponent like be spooked. So it's pretty cool. Things that I think don't perfectly fit, even though they're still kind of good, is the 20 Hormagaunts. I think they're cool, but unless you are for sure leaning into that kind of swarm archetype, I think a 20-man unit is oftentimes going to be a little bit harder to hide, and thus is probably not going to actually be as effective as you would like it to be. So I would either split this into 2 Hormagaunts, me personally, or let's see if we can whittle down something in order to help that out. Let's see, Zoanthropes, Tyranifex, Exocrine, Maliceptor. This is pretty close to what I'm running. It's not, so it's perfect. No, I do actually really like this list. Something that I am kind of leaning towards is I want to have double Tyranifex or no Tyranifex, honestly. So that's kind of where I'm at. Things that I think are maybe not the most efficient. If we took out, I'm probably going to, if we drop the 20-man Hormagaunts, because that's just something that I'm not really seeing fitting with everything else, because honestly, they're just going to be really hard to hide. Like 20 Hormagaunts, and I think that a 10-man Gargoyle squad is probably going to do the same amount of work that a 20-man Hormagaunt would do, and they're going to be cheaper, or they're going to be more efficient. So if we cut the 20-man Hormagaunts, which should be 130 points, and then we can go from there. And then Corvo, he said, I misread Twin Linked as Twinked, which is how I will be pronouncing it now. That's pretty funny. Yeah, no argument there. Okay, and then as I always do, I inundate everyone with the gargoyles. So our first change is going to be gargoyles times 10, and that will be 85 points. So 130 points minus 85, which should be 45, right? Yeah, 45. So we have 45 points left over. 45 points. And then here's what I would probably do. And I like the Zoanthropes as well. I mean, you can. I think they're fine. Oh goodness, what was that? Okay, whew. I just deleted your list. You could probably keep the zoanthropes, or you could think about doing 2 Tyranifexes instead of you know, 1 zoanthrope, 1 Tyranifex. With 45 points, we could upgrade. We could upgrade one of these Hormigons. Yeah, doing math on stream, everyone's nightmare. I agree. Which I would probably do, and that would leave us at 25. Yeah, let's do that. So gargoyles times 10. What else would this list be, quote unquote, missing? I think I am leaning towards cutting Zoans. I think they're good, but I think right now I'm valuing a Tyranifex over zoanthropes, just because we're already gonna have like a Maleceptor, we're already gonna have Gene Stealers, we're gonna already have 2 Exocrines. Or another thing that you could also think about doing is you could think about cutting the Tyranifex and then having a 3rd Exocrine. And then that would also leave you, I'm doing math on stream again, it's not good. That would also leave you 75 points for like Raveners. So Invader Zim, since you're here, what do you think? Would you rather change this Zoanthrope squad for a Tyranifex and maybe squeeze like a 35-point unit? Or would you rather cut this Tyranifex, add a 3rd Exocrine, and then Tia Corvo, and then maybe have room for a scoring piece? Those are the 2 avenues that I'm going with. I think I'm leaning changing this into a Tyranifex. And 35 points, what would that get us? So we could change the Pyrovore into Raveners. I think that's my first inclination to what I would do. So I will do that. And then I'm sure when he responds, it's going to be the opposite. And then we'll take a look at what that is. Right, because 40 plus 35. Room for scoring piece as room for Spore Assist. Oh no, not quite. Yeah, that's and I kind of agree with you, Chance, and that's why I'm kind of in favor of transforming this into a Tyranifex. Yeah, so I think that's what I would do, and then I would upgrade the Pyrovore to Raveners, and that's a pretty good scoring piece. But honestly, Chance, it's a pretty good start to a list. I really like the things that you're doing. I like the double Lictor and then Neurolictor. I think that's a cool package. I think Neurolictor by himself can be a little bit awkward, but I think you're heading in the right direction, you know. And then triple Exocrine could be sweet as well, you know. But tell us how the 20-man Hormigons have done for you. It's a very interesting piece. I haven't seen it personally, so yeah. And Sebastian, hey Jordan, how's it going? I would like to review a list. What do I have to do? It's almost like I planted that message in chat for our transition to our next army list. So if you would like to have me look at one of your lists and talk about it on stream, in our community page, there is a post where you can submit your army list. And the plan is hopefully to go through as many army lists as I can every single week. However, because there's so many, I am giving priority to members. I think I either have 4 or 5 members today, but I still have a good number of non-members as well. So it will probably be 3 to 4 weeks before I get to your list if you post it today. However, if you would like to buy me, Dylan, Zach, and Mike a cup of coffee and become a member, then there's a pretty good chance that your list will be seen on stream next week. But either way, I'd be more than happy to take a look at it. And thanks for hanging out in chat, and thanks for asking the question. Okay, zoom in right along. Xenotail. I think Xenotail was in chat. He said he was lurking or something. But I'm happy to take a look at his list. He's been chilling and streaming everything all the time, so it's good. It's good to look at his stuff. He said just recently got back into 40K and start collecting mids. I enjoy creating lore for my armies and telling stories about them. Sweet. In this case, my Nids are Hive Fleet Noxus. They spent some time in the warp absorbing a bunch of warp energies, so I wanted to focus on having psychic bugs in my army. Very cool. Here's an army list I put together from models I've collected to run in a Synaptic Nexus detachment in more casual games. Very cool. In addition to advice for improving the list, I would also appreciate some suggestions for other units that would be worthwhile purchases, as some general suggestions on who you would run this list, or maybe on how I would run this list. Okay, so we're going to take a look at it without thinking about changing anything, and I'm going to do my best to kind of see what my strategy would be with this list, and then we can go for some maybe like a purchasing guide, I don't know, to see what kind of things we can add to this. So Synaptic Nexus, and then let's go to the characters. We have Death Leaper, Hive Tyrant with Synaptic Control, Neuro Tyrant, Power of the Hive Mind, very cool. And then we have the Parasite of Mortrex with the Dirge Heart of Cars, very cool. I like that. That gives an additional -1, and I think it triggers a Battle Shock or something like that, but it's sweet. Jaldrin, I have ran the 20 Hormagaunt brick before. Results are mixed. Would recommend an invasion fleet though, given sheer volume attacks. You can proc a lot of sustain. Yes, absolutely. And actually, like, AP1 in combat is pretty spooky because you can't have cover in combat. So AP1 is AP1. You're gonna have that. So that's pretty sweet. Yeah, that's how I would run them too. An invasion. I don't think Endless Swarm is really a thing anymore. Things that I'm worried about with the 20-man Hormagaunts is they're hard to hide. And they're fragile. They're probably more fragile than we would like them to. But of course, they're Hormagaunts. So that's the thing. Like, if I'm running Hormagaunts, I want to run them out as a screen or to like annoy my opponent's scouts. I don't really want to use them as this big missile because then I feel like I'm putting too many points in that. I would probably run two 10-mans besides a big 20-man, but we'll see. Okay, so we have those characters. We already went over them. I like this, the Battle Shock like package, like the Death Leaper, the Parasite, the Neuro Tyrant, the Dirge Heart. It's very cool. We have Gargoyles, Hormagaunts, Termagants, Barbgaunts, Biovore, Lictor, Neurolictor, Zoanthropes, 6 of them, a Maliceptor, Norn Emissary, a Psychophage, and then a Tyrannofex. Okay, very cool. So first we're going to talk about like kind of what we would do in order to play this list. Screamer Killers would be sweet. Yeah. So we have a lot of chaff units. We have lone ops. I think you run this, you want to protect the football. And the football in this case is going to be our Norn Emissary, I would think. Do we have a Maliceptor in here? We do have a Maliceptor. Oh, it's a male scepter. Ooh. Okay, so the Norn is going to want to hang out with the Maliceptor on an objective and pretty much just do our best to make sure our opponent can't get there with everything all at once. And we can do that by, of course, lining up the Norn and the Maliceptor so that first turn the Norn can either hide behind terrain and threaten a charge onto the objective, or the Norn can literally just step onto the objective turn 1. And then in front of the Norn, I always like to have something like Gargoyles or Termagants, which would be even more expendable, to allow them to just move up first and then block a big charging unit's way for the Norn, and then just kind of let the Norn counterattack, as opposed to putting the Norn out there in the middle of the open and then everything being able to shoot at the Norn. Ooh, shit. So that's how I like to play a Norn. I like to use him as like a counterattack, as opposed to putting him out there and then everybody shoots at him first, because then you're really not going to get a whole bunch of use out of your Norn Emissary, because it does die. It does die. But always measure and make sure that you can touch the objective with one turn of movement, or you are able to hide perfectly behind a terrain piece. Like an L is really nice if you go turn 1 and you don't want to expose your Norn. That's kind of how I would do it. I would just kind of delay my opponent as much as possible. Termagants are a little bit awkward because they only move 6. Yes, they are going to have that reactive move. However, the unfortunate part of 40k is you're not allowed to move your opponent's models for them. They kind of get to say where they go. So if your Termagants are not like super effectively move blocking because they only move 6, then your opponent, there's a good chance the opponent can just go where they want and take out your Norn regardless. Okay. And then I think pretty much the rest of this list just kind of plays like a standard Tyranid list. There's no, sorry. I think the Tyranid is really good because it offers, you know, the irresistible will. Stratagem is just phenomenal, which is really nice. So your Tyranid get a hit on 2s, rerolling 1s, and it's a good chance it wounds on 2s and then reroll 1s as well. But if we look at things that I'm probably going to want to cut, and for this one, well, before we just start cutting stuff, things that I want to add is I probably want another Tyranid for sure. I probably want maybe one more Maliceptor just to add for extra synapse. So Tyranid, a Maliceptor, and then I probably want to like consolidate all of this to either 2 gargoyles and a Hormigaunt, or oftentimes when I'm building Synapse, it just goes down to 2 gargoyles. I really feel like Synaptic Nexus, maybe it's just how I build stuff. I really do feel like Synaptic Nexus oftentimes becomes a monster mash just because some of our really efficient monsters are Synapse or benefit from the Synaptic Nexus, like the Tyranid, like the Maliceptor, and etc. So cool. So first thing, let's do cuts and let's see where we end up. I think the Cyclophage is cool, but I'm not sure it is 100% fitting what we want to do there. So we're going to cut Cyclophage. Norns are cheaper. You are 100% right. So Norns are 15%, or not 15%. They're 15 points cheaper. So this list actually right now has 110 points to play with. Thank you for saying that, Gex. Which is super cool. I think that's the only thing that changed from this list. Cool. And then we're gonna cut the Barb Gaunts. I think they're all right. I think they're much better in Invasion, and I'm not really even super excited running them in Invasion right now. But I'm not super happy about them in Synaptic Nexus for right now. 165 points. But I think he was saying that before, that this is like he's just building his collection, which is super sweet. So, I mean, I ran Barb Gaunts at the beginning of the edition too. And then I do think there's a place for Termagants. I'm not super excited about the 2 10-mans in Synaptic Nexus because we can't regrow them. And they're not going to get too many buffs from them. So we're gonna cut the 2 Termagants, and we're gonna add 120 points to right here. So this would be 285 points. Yeah, I agree. The Termagants are just too slow for what we probably want to use them for. Maybe it's unfortunate, but we'll see. So at this point, I think I'm still going to go with my shtick of 2 Tyranid or, you know, no Tyranid. But first, what I would like to do is chop off 20 points and upgrade this Hormigaunt squad to a Gargoyle squad, because I'm pretty sure we are not going to be able to fit another like chaff unit. We'll see. So, and if we are able to put back in the Hormigaunt squad, that's sweet, but who knows, you know? All right, cool. So that's 265. And let's see what it looks like when we add one more Tyranid. I really should like put this stuff in like an Excel spreadsheet, so it would just do the math for me. But alas, here we are. So then that would give us 75 points left over. Okay, so we can do a couple of things. I think at this point, we actually do quite a bit of damage, especially with like the Synaptic Nexus buffs and everything. I am probably wanting to, I was supposed to cut this, right? I'm probably wanting to have one more lone op or one more scoring pieces. Let's see, 15 points. Dirge Heart is 15, so not to control is 20. Well, I mean, I guess we do have the Death Leaper, so it's not like we're super out of scoring pieces. I think something like Raveners would actually be a pretty good way to kind of round out this list. Like we have 70 points right there. Raveners are kind of like a scoring unit. Yes, they don't make the full benefit of Synaptic Nexus, but they are pretty good unit. So that's how I'm going to wrap it up for that list right there is Raveners. Who was this again? It was this Malevolent? No, it was Xenotail. So Xenotail, I know you're probably lurking, but yeah, that's where I would head for this list. I did make a video on like best units to buy, and Tyrannifex was number 2. I think getting a second Tyrannifex is pretty sweet. I think you should get a second Tyrannifex. You can get them for like $50 in the States and most local game stores. On online stores, you can get them maybe even for cheaper. But sweet. Protect the football. The Norn Emissary is the football. All right. So chat, why don't I see more acid effects? Aren't they big and gross against infantry between durability and torrent for fire overwatch? No, I agree. And I think we're just not seeing Tyrannifexes with the acid spray because the rupture cannon is actually very efficient, and D6 plus 6 is just kind of disgusting. AP4 is at a really good breaking point too, where Space Marine vehicles really don't want to see AP4, especially with the Arm of Contempt change. I think there's a possibility that AP4 and the rupture cannons just are able to just like delete stuff immediately, especially if you're able to slow roll when you're activating with your Tyrannifex. So maybe like cheat out an Arm of Contempt early with like an extra or something, and then just kind of like demolish it with the Tyrannifex. I also do think that the acid spray is pretty good too, and you could probably just run 3 Tyrannifexes, 2 rupture cannons, and an acid spray, and you'd probably have a pretty good time, you know. But in the acid spray slot, I'm oftentimes using a Maleceptor instead. Yes, I don't have a really cool Overwatch. However, I'm still having a really strong mid-bully or mid-table like bully threat that offers a defensive buff and is pretty annoying for your opponent to kill. So that's where I'm leaving. Here's a Wargamer Willie, and I think this might be the last member. I could be wrong. Yes, this is the last member. So thanks for all members for submitting this. We really appreciate the support. Let's take a look at Wargamer Willie has to say. He says, howdy, your channel has taught me so much. I appreciate your advice and tactics. You're a legend. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I usually unrock Invasion Fleet for the sustain and haven't tried this one out yet. Hoping you see what you think. Single-minded Annihilation. I think he edited this. And this might actually be with the update because this is Assimilation Swarm, which is sweet. I want to try Assimilation Swarm. So he's got the Hive Tyrant with Instinctive Defense. Very cool. We've got the Winged Tyranid Prime with Regenerating Monstrosity and Parasitic Biomorphology. I think Parasitic Biomorphology is the... That's the one where... I'm just going to look at it. Sorry. Okay, so this is the one where you add strength, and then if you kill something, then it's an additional attack. This enhancement is sweet. It is very cool on Tyranid Warriors, and it is also super sick on Gene Stealers as well. So I like this. And then Regenerating Monstrosity. Is this the one where you just like regenerate twice? Okay, up to twice. So you're going to bring back 2 warriors in this squad, and then your warriors are just going to be an absolute blender. Awesome. Okay, cool. And then we go straight to other data sheets. Wow, what a, it's not always the best call, but just the balls to just have characters and then go straight to other data sheets instead of battle line is pretty sweet. That's awesome. Okay, let's see what he's got. I'm excited about this one. We do have a Broodlord too. Okay. So we've got 2 Carnifexes, and it looks like he is running a different kind of loadout. He's got the Death Spitters with Slimer Magnets on one, the Heavy Venom Cannon on the other, and then 2 Carnifex Crushing Claws. So I normally run Old One Eye and Invasion Fleet, where I'm able to proc all of the sustain or the lethals because of the rerolls. I would be interested to see how Assimilation Storm with the Crushing Claws helps. I think Assimilation Storm is just a lot of its stratagems and stuff are just helping the regeneration. There's the Feel No Pain. There's Sticky, but I don't think we have too many offensive stratagems. But let's see. Let's take another look. Gene Stealers 10, great, love it. Psychophage, 2 of them. I think 2 Psychophages in Assimilation Swarm is the move, honestly. Then we have 3 Raveners, and then we have 6 Rippers. Very cool. Screamer Killer, and then here are the Tyranid Warriors, 2 Tyranid Warriors, ranged Tyranid Warriors, 65 points, and then Von Ryan's Leapers at 70 points. Okay, cool. He says, thank you for reviewing all these lists. Much appreciated. Been very new to playing 40K. Only have 10 games under my belt in 2 months. Somehow I've maintained a 10-0 win ratio. Goodness gracious. He does not own a Mouse Scepter, Exocrine, Tyrannifex, Lictor, Death Leaper, etc. The only big bag I have not included is Norn Emissary. He's just too many points. I agree. Strategy this far: one flank gets a Leaper Broodlord attached to Genius User combo. The other flank gets an Old One Eye and 2 Carnifexes. Usually these are acceptable losses because they kill a lot before they go down. Allowing me to slowly move. I like this. That's cool. I couldn't. The ranged warriors have been incredible synapse units to move around and not draw much attention. Occasionally they do a bit of damage. Try out Assimilation Swarm Detachment. Means a whole lot of recursion. Hive Tyrant has its own personal unit of Rippers. Okay, to always have fights first. Gotcha. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. I've been trying to get my hands on a Biovore, but they're a rare model to get hold of. Dang. Okay, so thank you for including like the stuff that you have or are having a hard time to include. I really do like your strategy. I think it's pretty cool. Something that I'm worried about is what we are using to hold our back objective. So let's talk about things that like, and I know you're saying that you're having a hard time getting some stuff. So again, I'm not going to go in and say, oh, get rid of everything. But let's talk about things that we might want to look at getting, especially for Assimilation Swarm, things that I'm going to want. And I know that you said it right here, the Biovore. We're probably going to want to get a Biovore. And it's just going to be, I'm just going to do like a list of things that I think would be good additions to kind of shift around. What's up, Pulp? Try my team's list for NIDS and see how I do against Blood Angels. Fantastic. Hey, good luck, man. Good to see you. Have a good night. Biovore we're going to want to get, as quickly as possible. In addition, an Assimilation Swarm, I think, and this is not going to be good to hear, but the same kit, Pyrovores. I think we also want Pyrovores. I'm actually interested in like probably around like 6 Pyrovores if you do 2-2-2, something like that. It's pretty cool. Also 3-2-2 if you're able to get 7. But it is incredibly annoying how expensive they are, and they only get 1 model per box. So honestly, that's the reason why I have been set back from Assimilation Swarm. However, you could maybe 3D print them. I'd say that. I don't know what you're talking about. But if you're able to find a buddy and your local group is chill with you playing 3D prints, as well as your local tournaments, if that's something that you do, maybe try and find them a little bit cheaper, if you know what I'm saying. 3 Pyrovores, 105. 3 Pyrovores, 105. Okay, cool. So that's sweet. What I am looking, so Pyrovores and a Biovore. And then also what I think would just be a great add to your collection, since you are just kind of starting out, is Harspexes. Do a little bit of research, see if you can magnetize your Harspexes to be Exocrines. I would probably get 2 boxes to start. And I know you said you didn't have them, but I'm just trying to give you ideas about things to go, especially if you're excited about Assimilation Swarm. So 2 boxes, you could magnetize both of them. It's not too crazy to do, and then kind of go from there. I like your ideas. So the immediate thing that I would do is I'm going to do my best to fit a Biovore in. And I don't want to change your list too much because I know you're kind of collecting as you're going. At least it seems. I agree with I like how the ranged warriors, and I know that you said that you like them, but they're probably going to be like my first thing that I would think about cutting to get the Biovore in there. And that would, so we're going to do that. And I know you have, those things are great. And if you're using the ranged warriors and they're really good for you, continue to use them. But if we're looking towards to just like streamlining and kind of make things a little bit more efficient, I would first cut the ranged warriors. And then I would put in a Biovore. So Biovore, that's going to be 15 or 50 points. Biovore, 50 points. And then we would have 15 points left over. Let's see, I'm going to start just doing the point totals here. 15 points total. And then let's see things that are also kind of not incredibly fitting. All right, so here's the thing. These two big melee bricks, or the three, the Tyranid melee warriors and the Gene Stealers, I think we probably do one. I think I'm happy with 2 melee bricks, but I think 3 is maybe just one too many, especially since we have the old one-eye brick. So I'm going to recommend cutting one of the Tyranid warrior bricks. So that's going to give us 150 points. So we'll be at 165. And then, of course, if we're cutting the Tyranid warriors, we're also going to cut one of these. So that means regenerating monstrosity is 20 points. I think we're okay with not having regenerating monstrosity. I think it's pretty good, but oftentimes if I'm running melee warriors, when they get looked at, they can just absolutely get nuked. So let's cut that because I don't think we really are going to be regenerating too much. I don't know, maybe I'm bad at using Tyranid warriors, but they kind of just melt with me. So that means we have 245 points to play with. And let's catch up with chat. Gex says, oh, he's just talking about the points for Pyrovores. Yeah, 105. Firedrake says there's no real difference between a Biovore and a Pyrovore, so once you got the model, they can easily be interchanged. Yeah, and also you don't even need to glue it on. You can just like take the tail off and just put it on. It's kind of sweet. Gex says, also Harspecs I think is the most efficient unit in the army. When it comes to versus Terminators, at least. My whole issue though is I can't crawl them up fast enough and they big. Yes, I 100% agree. So the thing that Assimilation Swarm is allowing you to maybe consider higher specs is because the 4-up feel no pain. If you're able to just slam them on an objective and say, I dare you to kill this, there's a 4-up feel no pain, and then offer for something behind the higher specs is to counterattack and really take whatever is on that objective off, then that's a pretty good situation. The only thing is, if they just shoot them, then they die, which could be pretty tough too. I cut 85. I put in a Biovore Waffle. I don't know if you're favoring that in. So it was 150, 85, and 65. Yeah, I cut the Biovore as well. So it should be, oh boy, 150, 235 plus, oh, you're right. So I was off by 5. Yep. There you go. But thank you, because 250 points is, you know what 250 points gets us, chat? What does 250 points get us? Gets us 2 Haruspexes. And I know that's, you know, I think there's probably more efficient things that we could do besides just 2 Haruspexes and then just slamming it in. But if we're also thinking about things that are going to really help Wargame really grow his collection, I think getting 2 boxes of Haruspexes is pretty sweet. So really what we've talked about is the Biovore and then 2 Haruspexes. I really do like Pyrovores. They're just really annoying to get, and I'm going to agree with you. Other things that maybe are not 10 million Pyrovores, yes. Slam 9 on the field and you'll have a great day. Things I like Von Ryans. I'm not sure I'm super excited with them in this detachment. So maybe like taking these out and swapping them for a lictor, like you said, but you also said you don't have a lictor. So I think purchasing guide, what I would do personally, if I was going from here and I had all of this stuff and I wanted to do more assimilation swarm, is Biovore, 2 exocrines, and magnetize them as a Haruspex or an exocrine, and then just kind of go from there. From that point, probably want to be, if we're thinking like efficient wise for money too as well, I would go Tyranifexes, then Pyrovore. See if you can get another source for Pyrovores, and have a great day, So Wargamer Willie, you've been pretty new to the channel, but I've been really appreciating your support and everything. So it's awesome to see your list, and it was awesome to be able to review it for you. So thanks again, man. All right. Here is our next one. This is our first Gex can source Pyrovores. All right, Gex, join our Discord if you haven't already, and maybe some people can hit you up or whatever. There is 3 lists left. One of them is a 1,000-point Synaptic Nexus. Speaking of a Discord, in our Discord, if you would like a free Imperial Knights Battle Force box for the holiday, go ahead and join our Discord. Go into the announcements, and then there's a free giveaway link for a Imperial Knights box. It's free to enter. If you are a member or a patron, you're going to get maybe just a little bit more of entries in there, and it'll support us, and maybe you get an Imperial Knights box. So if you haven't joined the Discord, if you haven't joined the giveaway, please do that, because it's just going to be free 40k stuff for you. Okay, shilling over. Here's 1,000 points. We've got 1 Neurotyrant. We have 10 Termagants, 2 squads of 11 Neurogants, 1 Norn Emissary, 2 Psychophages, 2 Pyrovores, and then 2 squads of 3 Zoanthropes. All right. He has some warriors, 3 Tyrant Guard, and a squad of Hormagaunts, as well as the Leviathan box. Has other stuff I can mix in. I like the thought of a Synaptic Nexus army, but I feel like I need some bigger monsters. Yeah. I think that would be good. My plans for the army is to send the Norn and some Termies down the middle, then 1 Psychophage on each side with some Neurogants for some extra wounds. Pyrovores holding home, and Neurogant and Zoanthropes kind of hanging out in the middle shooting stuff. I'm super experienced with the army, but that's my plan. I think that's great. I love that. That's super cool. Okay, if we're at 1,000 points, I really like the Norn Emissary, but I think we want to kind of go all in on the Norn Emissary package and just support it as best as we can. In addition, we want to change this to 1 6-man Zoanthropes so that we can really just like allow for efficiency to go, because we're going to attach it to the Neurotyrant. So we're hitting on 2s. We can do irresistible will kind of stuff. And then 6 Zoanthropes could be kind of gross. It could be pretty gross. 2 Pyrovores now is not... it's not just 80 points. It's like 75, right? Triple check. Don't want to get this wrong. Oh, is it 2? It's 2 singles, so it would be 80 points. All right, so something that we're going to do. Oh, this could be pretty quick, honestly. If we cut 2 Pyrovores, that's 80 points. Then if we cut the 2 11-mans, that's 90. 80 plus 90, 170 points. That gets us 1 Maliceptor. Maybe a little bit boring, but I definitely think that a Maliceptor, a Norn Emissary, and 6 Zoanthropes in a 1,000 point list could be disgusting. The only thing that I feel like we are missing is some mission play. So I think something cool for Synaptic Nexus would be to get yourself maybe some Neurolictors. So you could downgrade one of the Psychophages for a Neurolictor. Ooh, I actually really like that, because we go 1 Psychophage. If we're keeping the Psychophage, 1 Neurolictor, and then I believe we would have 15 points left over. Then that means we can put Power of the Hive Mind onto it with 5 points left over. Oh my gosh, look at how this fell into place. Then with 5 points left over, we change the Termagants into 10 Hormagaunts. Wow. I think that's like the first time that like all of the pieces aligned into a list just perfectly by making a couple of changes. I think this is sweet. I think this would be a sweet 1,000 point list. Give it a go, And if you don't have all those pieces, buy them bit by bit. You know, take it where you can. If you're in the stream, I would really appreciate it if you liked the stream. I don't even know how many likes we got currently. Let's see. We've got 12. If we could get to 20 likes, that would be amazing. I will give you a thumbs up. Oh, never mind. It just updated. We have 20 likes. There's your there's a thumbs up. All right, moving right along. We've got Big Cheddar. Hope you can someday get around to this. Since I'm a bit late, hey, Big Cheddar, the day's come. It's here. We're Invasion Fleet 1995. So we have 5 points left over. We have the Hive Tyrant with Adaptive Bio. Very cool. Wing Prime attached to Warriors. Sweet. 1 10-man Gargoyles. 2 10-man Termagants. 2 Lictors. 6 Tyranid Warriors. There they are. 2 Exocrines. Maleceptor. Norn Emissary. Double Screamer Killers. Tyranifex. I'm open to changing anything really. I only have about 900 of the points built up. Okay, cool. So we're kind of like starting out. We're kind of leaning towards a 2,000 point army. Oh, well, thank you, Spooky. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Cool. So things that are jumping out at me right away. And I really hate cutting people's Norn Emissaries because they're so cool. But if we're open to changing everything, I think that's going to be the first point. However, this is only at 260 points. So this should be minus 15. This should be 1980. Oh, but if I just cut the 275 points, then that's the actual math. Okay, because the decrease. 270 points to play with. So things that I'm not super gelling with is I think we do want a Neuro Tyrant. Put them back 5 more because it's at, oh, you're exactly right, 280. I think a Neuro Tyrant is pretty sweet to allow for some Synapse stuff. I think we want faster Griblies or we want a 20-man. At this point, it probably looks like we're going more of the Monster Mash, like single or double missile route. So I'm probably going to do my best to upgrade at least one of these. So we will cut. We'll cut 1, which would give us 60 points. So that would be 340, and then we'll subtract 25. To upgrade one of them to 10-man Gargoyles. I hope that math worked out. I think it did. Anyways, somebody in the chat will correct me. Maybe. And then we have 60 points on this. Ooh. Ooh. 60 points. Very cool. Things that I want. You can't hide them and they're scary. Yes. Agreed. Things that I want is I want this to be 2 Tyranifexes. We've talked about it a couple of times. I think you want, it's like the rule of 2 with the Sith. It's the exact same with Tyranifexes. So 190 or 315 minus 190, I believe, is 125. So 125 points, right? 125. Yeah. 125 points left over, which is very cool. We're pretty close to getting a 3rd Exocrine, which I think would be amazing. We also do want to upgrade these guys to Hormagaunts, and I think we also want to have a Neuro Tyrant. Neuro Tyrant, I believe, is 105 points. Let me see. Some of these units I know like right off the top of my head. Some of them I do have to look up every single one. Yeah, it is 105 points. Okay, so we do Neuro Tyrant there. 105. Oh, is it Biovore missing? Yeah, Biovore is missing. Okay, so we need to fix that. Good shout. Good catch. We gotta fix that. 120 20 points there. I do like a 1 of Screamer Killer as a rapid ingress threat. Like imagine trying to deal with double Tyranid and then a Maliceptor, and then all of a sudden a Screamer Killer rapid ingresses into your back line. That's pretty bad for the opponent. So we have, ooh, imagine if we had 1650 points. We have 165 points. First things first, we really got to make sure that we have that Biovore. So he's just going to go in automatically, Biovore, 50 points. And that will bring us down to 115 points. And then we're going to try and get to a point where we have a third Exocrine. I've been playing triple Exocrine recently. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So something that we can do. Oh, this slots in pretty nicely. So we do end up getting rid of the 10-man Termagant, which is a little sad. And that's going to get us our third Exocrine. Sorry, I didn't want to add 135 to 270. I was too. And then we should have 40 points left over. And then we put a Pyrovore. I really do actually like a Pyrovore in as just kind of a one-of to kind of support with the Maliceptor. And to just, maybe he just comes in from strategic reserves, he does an action and he dies. You know? Or maybe he just like holds a point and then your opponent has to go over there and kill a Pyrovore, or you just score a bunch of primary. Yeah. Good catch again, Waffle. I think I'm pretty happy with how this list ended up. Thanks again, Big Cheddar, for submitting your list and chilling with us. That's super awesome. This is kind of where I take it. I like the Warriors. That's another rapid ingress threat that I might be thinking of. Me personally, I do Gene Stealers over Warriors. However, you know, you've chosen Warriors because you like them probably. I think if they connect with anything, they absolutely demolish it. However, it's just getting them to that point in the game where they are in combat. I just feel like Gene Stealers are better at that, and they stick around more because the 5-up end vuln, -1 to hit, and 5-up Feel No Pain is really good on them. But that's kind of where I would take this list. Our last list of the stream, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Of course, just a reminder, if you want to submit your list, go to the community tab, put your list into the post, and I'll get to it. If you want it to be gotten to quicker, consider becoming a member. You can do that, I think, by going to our main channel, and then there's a link right below there. For some reason on live streams, it's hard for some people. I don't know. You guys tell me if you can become a member by mobile and test that by becoming a member. No, I don't know. But if you're a member, you will get a little bit of priority. I still always like to spread the love by having some that are and some that aren't, just to keep it fair. And yeah, I'll get your list when I can. If you haven't joined the Discord, consider doing so. We talk about a bunch of Tyranids in there. I talk about my videos that I'm posting and when I'm posting them. In addition, we are giving away the holiday Imperial Knights Battle Force box. So if that's something that you want to have for free, join the Discord, go into our announcements page, and then click that link. Okay, yes. It seems I'm not, I did read a little bit before, and I like that, you know, tell me what to do. It's fine. Oh, and it's Vanguard Onslaught. Oh my gosh. What's up, Paul? Good to see you, man. Jordan. Good to see you, man. Here it is. Would like to keep the general idea of the list the same and desperately want to keep the Norn in there because I love the model and love the idea of having it on the list. Any other changes, feel free though. I think he knew me. You know, I think he knew this guy is going to cut my Norn from the list immediately. And most of the time he would be right. Okay. Oh no, but we got double Moloch. All right, this looks sweet. Let's take a look at it. Before we just immediately cut stuff, we have a Death Leaper, double Broodlord. We have a Neurotyrant, Biovore, double Gene Stealers, double Lictor, Neurolictor, 3 Von Ryans, 3 Zoanthropes. Interesting, cool. Double Moloch, Norn Emissary, Trigon, Tyranid. The Moloch stands are coming out of the woodworks. All right. So here's my thing. If we are, and I do appreciate you telling me what you want to be kept. We cut single Molochs, but 2 Molochs means they get to stay. I don't know, man. And then this list is actually, well, I'm going to cut the Trigon, so it doesn't, don't worry about it. We have a Trigon and a Tyranid. A 6 block of Von Ryans. I would like that too. Get out of here, Paul. Let's go, Molochs. Paul, if I put a Moloch in a lineup, I don't think Paul would be able to say which one is a Moloch. Um, that's funny. Okay, so things that both Molochs affected by the one up be down strat is fun. This list author is a hero. I agree. Yes. Trade the Trigon for another Moloch. Okay, yeah, we could do some stuff. Here's what we'll do. I think we for sure cut the 3-man zoanthropes. I just think they're a little bit awkward, and I think we do have quite a bit of like the Tyranid FX shooting is super cool, and then the Norn Emissary is also sweet as well. So we'll start there. We're gonna have 100 points to play with. We're gonna keep the Moloch. Is Moloch Norn Emissary like the move? Because like a Norn Emissary just staying somewhere and a Moloch popping up and being annoying all the time can be kind of sweet. And then I am going to cut the, oh yeah, you're right, is 260. So this should actually be at 115. Thank you for reminding me. And then we'll do 100 and I am going to cut the Trigon. I think the Trigon's cool, but if we're doing double Moloch and Norn Emissary, you know, there's only so much. So we're at 285. Chat is in shambles because of the Trigon cut. Oh, it did go to 150, but because this list was made at the time of Paul, he outs himself as a fake Moloch stand. Because of the timing of this list, I think if we just cut that and then add it to the point total, it will actually still keep the list accurate. All right. What is this list missing? Second Tyranifex? Maybe? Do we have any Exocrines? No. But Paul is a true Moloch stand supporter. I appreciate that as well. So I think what we want to do is go back to protecting the football. So a couple ideas that we're going to have is the Gene Stealers are going to counterattack the Norn, whatever comes after the Norn, which is pretty sweet. However, I also think having something like a Maleceptor would be really good in order to aid in that. I know I cut 3 Zoanthropes at the beginning, but I think in this list specifically, I'm going to cut the Tyranifex just because I'm not a huge fan of it by itself. And then I'm going to do 6 Zoanthropes instead. And so basically that'll just make this go down to 275 instead of 285. And that's just going to help as a pretty good shooting threat. You can also bring them down turn 1 with the strat and just hopefully nuke something and then move on with their day. Next thing that I'm pretty much going to want is I'm going to want to put a Maleceptor in here to support the Norn, and then maybe the Molochs as well. And then something that I think we're 100% missing is we're missing some Raveners, guys. I love Raveners. I think we do a 3-man Raveners because we don't want to change the rest of this guy's list too much. And then that gives us, honestly, a clean 40 points for a Pyrivore. I believe he already had a Neurotyrant. Yep. Sweet. So we're good. This is how because 75 plus 40 is 115. Boom. Nailed it. We did it, chat. This is how I would take this list and change it without kind of changing the core of it. Yep, it kind of falls pretty nicely. So we got Death Leaper, Broodlord, Neurotyrant, Pyrivore, double Gene Stealers, double Lictor, Neurolictor, Von Ryans, double Moloch, Norn, triple Ravener, Pyrivore, 6 Zoanthropes. Sick. All right, everybody. Great stream. Thanks for hanging out. Join the Discord. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Consider being a member. And we would greatly appreciate it. Consider being a great guy like Paul with the perfect allocation of points. And we get to, and we get to keep the double Moloch. Paul is #1 Mawok stan. And one day he might find out what they are. All right, everybody, take it easy. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you Wednesday.